How many of you here today are 10 years old? Well, I'd like to tell you a story about a 10-year-old. One hot summer day, a 10-year-old decided to set up a lemonade stand in their front yard with their siblings. It was nothing fancy, just a table, a homemade poster, and a cold pitcher of lemonade. By the end of the day, the kids had made exactly $26.27. Not a fortune, but enough to feel proud. As they were cleaning up the front yard and going back inside to cool off, the kids started talking about what they were going to do with this $26.27. Are we going to buy candy, comic books, toys? The family actually had a tradition of getting all the clothes that they had outgrown and toys and games that were collecting dust and donating them to the local homeless shelter. So their parents suggested that they do the same thing with this $26.27. As the oldest kid in the household, the 10-year-old went down to the homeless shelter with their dad to drop off the money. To say this experience going into the shelter was overwhelming is an understatement. And not just for a 10-year-old, but for anybody. It was loud, it was cramped, it was noisy, and it was full of people who didn't have homes. Amongst all this commotion, the 10-year-old spotted something, or rather, someone, across the room. It was another kid, roughly their age, underneath a table, just trying to play, just trying to be a kid. That image struck the 10-year-old, and it stuck. So much so that when they got home, they started telling their family what they had seen, what they had experienced, how this just wasn't right. This isn't how a childhood is supposed to be. Their parents listened and asked one simple question: what are you going to do about it? And that's when the family brainstorm began. They were laying on their living room floor and just throwing out different ideas. Maybe our friends from school can set up a lemonade stand. Maybe our neighbors can set up a lemonade stand. Maybe our cousins can set up a lemonade stand. Until finally it snowballed into, why don't we set up a citywide lemonade stand? And just like that, the Lemonade Project was born. One simple lemonade stand turned into a movement. The family quickly started putting together a business proposal with logistics and budgets and a wish list of sponsors. The 10-year-old started knocking on the doors of local businesses, asking them to donate supplies for what they were calling lemonade kits, grocery bags full of all of the supplies that you need to set up a lemonade stand. Lemonade mix, cups, a poster, a bright yellow t-shirt, and a makeshift cash box. The family also started reaching out to local TV and radio stations, asking them to promote this Labor Day weekend event and encourage kids from all over town to participate. Since the supplies for these kits were being donated, all kids had to do was donate their time and sprinkle in a little creativity. Now, the goal for that first year was ambitious. The family hoped to get 100 lemonade stands across the city over Labor Day weekend, each raising $50 for a total of $5,000. Well, after that three-day holiday weekend, there had been 117 stands across the city that raised over $7,000 for the local homeless shelter. That's a lot of lemonade. That simple idea of a lemonade stand grew. As more and more kids signed up to participate, the family quickly realized this wasn't just about selling lemonade. This was about making a difference. This was about kids helping kids. Year after year, more and more kids signed up to participate, more stands were set up across the city, more money was raised for the local homeless shelter, and the difference these kids were making was huge. That $7,000 I told you about from the first year turned into $20,000 the second year, turned into $25,000 the next year. The hundreds of thousands, yes, hundreds of thousands of dollars these kids raised over the years allowed the local homeless shelter to create a dedicated children's room so that kids that were in the shelter had a safe place to call their own and be a kid. The shelter was also able to use these funds for rent and utilities so that kids and their families could get out of the shelter and back into their own homes. Well, that 10-year-old I was just telling you about, that was me 30 years ago. Yeah, that's the first stand with the poster. What I learned from that experience is that kids don't need to wait to be adults to make a difference. You have that superpower right now. Sometimes all you need is a glass of lemonade, an idea, and the courage to act on it. And it wasn't just about selling lemonade and raising money for this homeless shelter. Lots of people, mostly adults, raise money for these types of causes all the time. This was about kids helping kids. And the icing on the cake, or I guess in this case, the mint leaf on the cold glass of lemonade, we, the kid volunteers, were learning from and being impacted by this experience too. We were building the confidence and the curiosity to ask, what else can we do to make our world a better place? Did you know that kids who volunteer are more likely to stay involved in their communities as they grow up? National data shows that 44% of American adults volunteer. That's a little low in my opinion, but we'll get there. 2/3 of those adults who volunteer started when they were kids. Plus, kids who volunteer are more likely to develop leadership skills, confidence, and even do better in school. Recent research shows that kids who volunteer are 66% more likely to be considered flourishing in their overall well-being. Imagine that. Selling lemonade could help you become an entrepreneur, a philanthropist, a leader. Not just in the future, but right now. A quick note to all the adults in the room. We just need to get out of their way. Our children are not yet weighed down by the fears, failures, and what we view as impossible. When we give them the space and support to lead, incredible things can happen. They can change their neighborhood, their cities, even their world. So as I leave you here today, I want you to remember, your ideas matter. Your actions matter. You don't need to be older, taller, or wait to be invited to make a difference. You have everything you need to make positive change right now. Because when kids help other kids, amazing things happen. Now close your eyes. Go ahead, close them. Imagine something that has impacted you. It could be a song on the radio. It could be a story someone's told you. It could be something that you're investigating in school, whether it's coral regeneration or implementing acts of kindness in your everyday life. Or it could be as specific as a little kid across the room, underneath a table, just trying to play. Now open your eyes. In the words of my own parents, what are you going to do about it? Thank you.